The biting wind carried the promise of an impending blizzard as I embarked on my journey home from work. The sky, pregnant with heavy clouds, threatened to unleash a torrent of snow that would transform the familiar streets into a frozen labyrinth. Little did I know that this ordinary evening would become a chilling tale etched into the frosty canvas of my memories. The radio's monotone voice had forewarned about the approaching storm, advising residents to stock up on essentials and stay indoors. However, my routine commute had a sense of urgency that evening, a subtle intuition that whispered of the impending chaos that would soon unfold. As I navigated through the traffic-choked arteries of the city, the first flakes of snow began their descent. Initially delicate, they clung to windshields and rooftops, creating a picturesque ambiance. But within minutes, the scene morphed into a chaotic dance of swirling white, heralding the blizzard's arrival with unrelenting force. My phone buzzed with notifications from the locale weather app, its relentless updates mirroring the intensifying storm outside. The city, caught off guard by the sudden onslaught, seemed to surrender to the merciless grip of winter. I decided to make a detour to the grocery store, heeding the advice of the radio announcer. The parking lot, usually a bustling hive of activity, now wore an abandoned look, with only a few determined souls braving the elements to secure their share of necessities. The store's interior was a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead as shoppers navigated the aisles, their carts filled with bread, milk, and canned goods. The collective apprehension painted a somber atmosphere, a silent acknowledgement of the storm's ability to disrupt the ordinary flow of life. With a cart laden with essentials, I made my way to the checkout counter. The cashier, a weary expression etched across her face, scanned my items with practiced efficiency. Small talk about the weather was exchanged, each word a testament to the shared sense of vulnerability that the blizzard had imposed upon us. Leaving the store, the biting wind stung my face, and the snowfall had intensified. The routine drive home became an arduous journey through a whiteout, the headlights of other cars mere ephemeral glimmers in the relentless storm. As I approached my neighborhood, the contrast between the familiar and the altered was stark. The once clear roads were obscured by layers of snow, and houses, adorned with twinkling holiday lights, now stood shrouded in a thick blanket of white. Parking my car, I trudged through knee-deep snow toward my house. The silence was profound, broken only by the muffled crunch of my boots against the snow. The ordinary walk from car to doorstep had transformed into a daunting expedition, and with each step, the cold seeped through layers of clothing, an unwelcome reminder of the unforgiving nature of winter. Inside the warmth of my home, the reality of the blizzard's impact began to settle in. The windows rattled under the assault of the wind, and the comforting hum of the furnace struggled to drown out the storm's relentless howl. The glow of the television illuminated the living room, providing a stark contrast to the tempest outside. As the evening wore on, the city succumbed to an eerie stillness. The familiar sounds of traffic and distant chatter had been replaced by the monotonous drone of the blizzard, a ceaseless echo that seemed to reverberate through the frozen landscape. The power flickered intermittently, a sign that even the most reliable systems were susceptible to the blizzard's wrath. Candles were lit, casting flickering shadows on walls that seemed to close in with each passing hour. The ordinary comforts of modern life had become fragile in the face of nature's relentless assault. Night descended like a heavy curtain, and with it came a chilling realization. The blizzard had transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary, testing the mettle of both infrastructure and human resilience. The routine of everyday life had crumbled beneath the weight of winter's icy grip. As I lay in bed, the sounds of the storm outside became a lullaby of uncertainty. The familiar groans of the house settling were now accompanied by the creaks of branches weighed down by snow. Sleep, usually a sanctuary of escape, became a restless journey through a dreamscape dominated by the frozen echoes of the blizzard. Days turned into nights, and the blizzard's impact lingered long after the snow had ceased to fall. The routine had been disrupted, and the city, once bustling with life, had transformed into a silent tableau of winter's grasp. The blizzard, a fleeting yet formidable force, had woven a tale of resilience and vulnerability, a tale that resonated in the frozen echoes of a real-life winter nightmare. The forecast had predicted a winter storm, but the reality that unfolded was beyond anything I could have anticipated. The icy tendrils of the blizzard had gripped the city, turning a routine drive into a life-threatening ordeal. As I navigated the treacherous roads, each decision became a gamble with the unforgiving forces of nature. My phone buzzed with an emergency alert, an urgent plea for residents to stay indoors as the blizzard intensified. The city had come to a frozen standstill, and the roads, now cloaked in a blanket of snow, bore the scars of nature's relentless assault. A frantic call from a friend pierced through the howl of the wind. Sarah, stranded on the outskirts of town, was desperate for help. Her car had succumbed to the storm, leaving her alone in the merciless clutches of the blizzard. Ignoring the warnings echoing through the radio, I made a decision fueled by concern for a friend in peril. The ordinary act of driving now became a high-stakes venture into a realm where survival hinged on split-second decisions. As I ventured into the storm, the car's headlights cut through the snowfall, revealing a landscape transformed into a chaotic white expanse. The city lights, usually a reassuring beacon, were swallowed by the blizzard's ferocity, leaving me to navigate through an eerie void. The phone's GPS, a lifeline in the obscurity of the storm, guided me toward Sarah's stranded location. The road, normally a familiar artery, now resembled an icy maze, each turn obscured by the relentless onslaught of snow. The radio crackled with reports of accidents and stranded vehicles, painting a grim portrait of the life-threatening conditions that had befallen the city. Sarah's voice on the phone trembled with a mix of relief and fear as my car approached her stranded vehicle. The wind howled, carrying with it a symphony of frosty echoes that seemed to amplify the urgency of the situation. She appeared at the edge of the headlight's glow, a lone figure in a sea of white, her face etched with the stark reality of being stranded in the storm. The rescue mission, initially driven by concern for a friend, now morphed into a battle against the elements. Sarah, shivering and disoriented, explained that her car had become ensnared in a drift, rendering it immobile. The biting cold had intensified, and every moment exposed to the storm threatened to plunge us into a life-threatening struggle for survival. Determined to get Sarah to safety, I helped her into the car, and we navigated through the frozen labyrinth that had once been the city's streets. The wind buffeted the car, causing it to sway perilously on the icy roads. The visibility was reduced to mere feet, and each forward movement felt like a leap of faith into the frozen unknown. The radio, a constant companion throughout the journey, transmitted updates on the blizzard's severity. Reports of stranded motorists and emergency shelters filled the airwaves, emphasizing the life-threatening nature of our predicament. The routine of everyday life had been eclipsed by the raw struggle against the storm's relentless onslaught. As we approached the city limits, the gravity of the situation became starkly evident. The car's tires struggled for traction on roads that resembled ice rinks, and the potential for an accident loomed with each passing moment. The life-threatening reality of being caught in the blizzard's clutches hung in the air, a chilling acknowledgement that nature could transform the ordinary into a battle for survival. The phone buzzed again, this time with an emergency alert warning of potential road closures and advising residents to seek shelter immediately. The city, now a ghostly landscape, seemed to enforce the urgency of the message. With a sense of impending danger, we pressed on, the car inching forward through the storm's icy grip. As we reached the outskirts of the city, the desolate landscape stretched before us. The road, once a lifeline, now seemed to lead us into an abyss of uncertainty. With each passing minute, the life-threatening reality of the blizzard became more pronounced, and the struggle against nature's fury intensified. Finally, we reached Sarah's home, the journey through the storm a harrowing odyssey. The relief in her eyes was palpable as she stepped out of the car and into the sanctuary of her residence. The city, now submerged in the frozen chaos of the blizzard, had tested our resilience in the face of life-threatening conditions. Days turned into nights, and the memory of that life-threatening journey lingered, a stark reminder that the routine of everyday life could be disrupted by the uncontrollable forces of nature. The blizzard, once a distant threat, had become a life-threatening ordeal, leaving an indelible mark on our shared experience of navigating the thin line between the ordinary and the life-threatening in the frozen heart of the storm. The city had succumbed to the icy grip of a relentless blizzard, turning the familiar streets into a desolate battleground. The routine drive home, now a harrowing odyssey, thrust me into the heart of a winter nightmare, where survival itself hung in the balance. Each moment became a chilling struggle against nature's malevolence, transforming the ordinary into a darker reality. As I navigated through the snow-laden streets, the car's tires skidded on the icy roads, the engine groaning in protest. The once familiar landmarks were obscured by the thick veil of snow, and the city lights, dim and distant, cast long shadows that seemed to harbor unseen terrors. The radio, a companion in solitude, crackled with reports of accidents and stranded motorists, amplifying the life-threatening severity of the blizzard. The phone buzzed with an urgent message, a plea for help from a friend stranded on the outskirts of the city. The desperation in their voice mirrored my own growing sense of dread. The routine drive had become a life-threatening mission, and each decision became a gamble with the unforgiving forces of nature. I reached their location, the wind howling like a vengeful spirit as they stumbled towards the car. Their face, pallid and frozen, told a story of a desperate fight against the storm's merciless assault. The life-threatening reality of being caught in the blizzard's clutches was etched in every shivering breath. As they entered the car, the battle against the malevolent forces of the blizzard intensified. The roads, now an icy labyrinth, offered little traction, and each turn became a perilous dance with the shadows lurking in the frozen abyss. The wind, laden with icy tendrils, seemed to conspire with the darkness to amplify the life-threatening severity of the situation. Emergency alerts blared through the radio, a cacophony of warnings that painted a grim picture of road closures and impassable routes. The city, now a frost-bitten fortress, resisted our desperate attempts to escape the storm's icy clutches. The routine of emergency response had devolved into a life-threatening struggle for survival on the frozen stage of the blizzard. The phone's GPS, our fragile guide through the snowy maze, faltered as we navigated towards the city center. The life-threatening reality of the situation became palpable, and the car's movements, sluggish on the treacherous roads, added an extra layer of dread. The shadows of the blizzard's darker side seemed to close in, harboring unknown threats in the frozen night. With each passing moment, the car fought against the storm's relentless assault. The wind, an invisible adversary, howled like a banshee, drowning out the radio's urgent updates. The city's routine had been replaced by a life-threatening struggle for survival, where every flicker of the headlights became a beacon in the icy void. The city center, usually a bustling hub, now resembled a frozen graveyard of abandoned vehicles and desolate buildings. The emergency shelters, overflowing with those seeking refuge, provided a grim testament to the life-threatening severity of the blizzard. The routine of finding sanctuary had become a desperate fight against the shadows that lurked in the frozen abyss. As we approached the shelter, the car's engine sputtered, a chilling reminder of the life-threatening reality outside. The wind, a relentless adversary, battered the vehicle as we fought to reach safety. The shadows seemed to close in, harboring unseen threats in the frozen night. Finally, we reached the emergency shelter, a haven in the storm's icy onslaught. The car, now a frost-covered relic, stood as a testament to the life-threatening battle against the malevolent forces of nature. The city, once a familiar landscape, now bore the scars of a darker reality, a reality where the blizzard's unforgiving wrath had revealed the shadows lurking beneath the ordinary facade of everyday existence. The memory of that life-threatening journey lingered, a haunting testament to the fragility of life in the face of nature's relentless onslaught. The battle against the storm's darker side had etched itself into the frozen recesses of my memories, a chilling reminder that the ordinary could swiftly transform into a darker reality where survival itself became a precarious gamble.